Well, hello there, girlfriend. Inga Faye here. Super excited to be here with you today. I am excited. I'm gonna just tell y'all, I got my homie that I just found out was my homie like 5 minutes before we recording this. But I am going to introduce you to Kendrick. He is a marketing strategist and sales guru, and we are going to talk about how leveraging technology and staying ahead in today's digital age of business. So we're going to get all into that today, and I'm excited to introduce you to him, and we will see you on the other side.
How y'all doing? How y'all doing? Thank you for having me, Ingrid. This is an amazing opportunity. I appreciate it.
Yes, and it's an amazing opportunity to talk to you as well. But before we get in to how to leverage technology in this digital age of business, you got to give us the 411, man. First of all, I did not know that you were a homie, like I said, until like 5 minutes before we started this. And I was like, what? He is from the VA?
Yes,
What?
ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Oh,
757 homegrown.
757 in the house. So
Yes, ma'am.
we getting in your business, okay?
Yes,
Tell
ma'am.
us
Get it.
about you, who you are, who you serve, and how you serve them.
That's a very good question, a complex question, honestly. I'm just a humble kid from Virginia who's looking to help other businesses and other organizations really try to take their businesses to the next level. Myself, I was raised in the Newport News. I'm a military brat, so I've been moving all up and down East Coast as much as you can think of. And from that aspect of things, I kind of got used to kind of being a lone wolf, but through that, I've been able to pack my baggage, as I've been able to say, of just good people, good information, good resources. So I'm just looking to be able to try to bring that to the world. So youngest of four, I got all sisters, so I've been beat up a lot through my sisters. They always bully me, but it's also a lot of the reason why I am who I am today. The way I care about people, the way I see things differently, and how I have an introspective light towards others. It's all based on the women who raised me. And good big shout out to my mother, my aunties, and my sisters for definitely making sure I can never slip and never take a step backwards.
Awesome. 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 Well, I just want to know, how long have you been a marketing strategist and guru? And how did you get started in this?
Well, so if you know from the hometown, right? 757, it's a home of hustlers, and
Yes.
my father and my uncle, they were already in business when I got started. So I was 7, 8, 9, 10 years old. On the Virginia Beach Strip, selling flowers. Inside the clubs with the little
Wow.
glow sticks and lights. But then my father, he was also a chief chef, so burgers, fries, fish fries, all of that stuff on the side of the street. So it really started from an early age. And I
Hmm.
always kind of seen myself as a weird individual because I always wanted to know why people were driven to do the things that they did.
Right.
So I kind of got into the consumer behavior aspect of things. So it started out probably, I can't even remember, probably 12 years old, 13 years old, helping people strategize their businesses. I would go over my uncle's houses and they would be talking about business plans, and I would kind of be like, get right into the middle, like, you don't know what you're talking about. And I'm like, nah, dude, you're not seeing this opportunity. They're like, wait a minute, where is this coming from? One of the best investments that anybody's ever given to me was my father gave me the book Rich Dad Poor Dad at a very young
Yes.
age, and it
Hmm.
was just something that was just instilled in me. I probably read that book over 70 times at this point now, and so I always wanted to understand what was different about people and how people moved. So I've been professionally in marketing for over 15 years. I have a bachelor's in business and marketing administration, as well as an
Right.
MBA in market research and analytics. But
Okay.
as most people understand, people incorrectly use marketing and sales synonymously. And for that reason, I kind of had to get started in the sales aspect because where I was trying to go to get internships and marketing opportunities, people didn't look like me. And so I had to
Mm.
kind of bust down those barriers and try to learn some of the soft skills myself, and to the point
Right.
where I knew where I had a value to bring to others. And now here I am today, being able to produce multi-million dollar sales producers, as well as being able to help generate true growth for different companies and be able to get you where you need to go.
I like it. I like it, homie. I like it. Okay, so look, we today we're going to talk about how to leverage technology and stay ahead in today's digital age of business. What would be one of the first steps that you would recommend someone that just kind of just starting out as a solo entrepreneur, or maybe they've gotten a little bit farther than that, they have a small staff, but they're still trying to grow and level up.
Well, I would say the first thing you really should do is instill a culture inside the business of continued
Mm,
learning.
Okay.
Really, the biggest thing you need to do is, if you got people who are around you who are always bringing something new, and some new technology, some new innovation to your face. It's kind of hard for you to say no to it. So I would say, please trust yourself in your ability to take on and learn new aspects. People think it's really, really hard. It is not. What I tell people all the time, 1950 anymore. The
Right.
YouTube era is here. There's master classes. There's so many different avenues to take on and learn new information. I find myself almost nightly falling asleep to some new information.
Mm-hmm.
So go through what people say YouTube University, and just go see what others are out there doing. Also, don't ever think that you know everything. Always take
Mm-hmm.
an aspect that you can learn anything from anybody. Because one thing that I've found myself doing a lot lately is actually trying to get into the younger generation. They are so in tune with what's going on. They have a pulse on what's coming up and what's next. And we get so streamlined into what we do. We want efficiency and processes to put in place, but that's not really where innovation comes from, right?
Right.
Innovation comes from doing a little bit of R&D, doing some things on the side, just seeing what happens, and jump off that cliff a little bit with the hopeism of things that can come. And I definitely tell you, always, always, always look for where your niche or your segment is continuing to move, because it's not going to be the same tomorrow as it is today.
Yes, I would so agree with that. So agree. Now, so I heard you say, get into YouTube University. So let's talk a little bit about that, because I know there are some people out here, and my girlfriend calls them nibblers. And nibblers are standing for basically people that want all they can get for free. And they'll try to piecemeal stuff together for whatever reason, because maybe they don't have the money, or they don't want to spend the money to invest in themselves. What is your take on the free basis, compared to what you get when you get paid type of training?
Excellent question. Excellent question. So I believe there's a time and a place for all things, right? So definitely, if you have your nibblers, those are individuals who I would say on our out of market segments, they aren't truly really ready. As you said, a lot of times people are building their businesses out of fear. So a lot of
Right.
times they do not feel as though they're ready or up to it. So they just want to maybe get a little bit of a, like you said, I like the way you said nibble, a few dribbles of information to see if
Yep.
it's something that they resonate with.
Right.
But there is nothing, and I do say there is nothing like having hands-on mentorship and coaching.
Right.
I myself also, as a self-consultant, yourself as an amazing consultant, there is something for people that need actual training. There's one thing of having education, and there's another thing of being trained in a certain aspect.
Right.
You can learn something as much as you want, but unless you understand how to apply that new knowledge, you're really kind of selling yourself short. I see so many people think, I can do it myself, I can do it myself, I can do it myself. Yes, you can. But the amount of time, money, and resources you will spend trying to do it yourself, you're really being a disservice to yourself and your future business. Because getting somebody who's already been there and done that, they can help you miss so many of the pitfalls. And I still
Yes.
make mistakes every day still, but
Right.
that's something that I help, and to be able to train people every day, and how to be able to generate new growth and new revenue.
Right. Yeah, I totally agree with that. Totally, totally, totally agree. Because I just know in my training that I've actually spent money on, and maybe some of the free stuff too. Well, let me say it this way. The paid training, I have definitely seen a reduction of the learning curve, I'll say.
Absolutely.
I In the free training that I've had in the past, I see it as a appetizer of what could really be if I bought the full meal of what they were probably offering me. They just give me
That's a great
just a
way to put
little
it.
taste, just a little taste. And then, as my father would say, I am dazed, glazed, and amazed by what they gave me, to the point that I just want to have more.
Right.
So,
Right.
as a business owner, I'm just curious when it comes to technology and helping people stay, I guess, up to date. What are some of the things that you offer that help people do that?
Well, that's a great question again. So we do a lot of things that, although it may not be new to some, it may be difficult to others.
Mm,
Where what we really do is we take a lot of the headache away from what you're trying to do. Most people, when it comes to getting into the business, they have some type of solution for something that they're passionate about. They want to serve a certain demographic or a specific niche. That does not mean they understand all the other aspects of business. And that's
right.
something that I feel like they kind of learn in the learning curve, right? As they're going through, and they're like, oh my goodness, I didn't realize there were so many other pieces to it. So what we can actually offer is taking that off your plate for you, right? And also, if you aren't ready to have someone actually take it off, I understand. Listen, business owners are also usually control freaks, so we get it. If you want to just understand how to do some of these things so that you can then know where you're getting value and where you're not. I see so many people go and try to speak to a marketing consultant or speak to a marketing agency, and they don't even understand the language that they're speaking. How do you know where value is, and how do you know if someone's actually, just pulling the wool over your eyes, or if they actually understand to drive revenue or drive value for you?
Right.
Another aspect to that would be what we specifically do is digital marketing. So all things digital marketing from A to Z. Does not matter where you are in your entrepreneurship journey. If it's you need more leads, we can get more leads. You want more traffic to your website, we can get more traffic. If you need video editing, we can do that for you as well. If you need full-on strategies to be able to understand how to grow your digital footprint, we can help you there as well. But what I'm truly, truly excited about is on the other side of that is once you get those leads, you kind of get that nest egg, I would say, of individual potential prospects. What are you doing with those, right? There's so many people that are lacking the actual sales process and understanding that it's a science to a lot of this. It's not just an art form, although it does have a percentage of that aspect to it. There's multiple ways that you can go about things and concepts you can use to identify with the right individuals that you're trying to touch bases with.
Yes, I would totally agree. So I know all the rave right now is AI. I mean, even when we were getting ready for this interview, I was using AI to come up with the headline that's going to cause people to say, well, what's that all about? So,
right.
What are some other ways that you've seen people be able to use AI in their business when it comes to them staying ahead of this digital age?
So one of the things that I really see is a lot of business owners, specifically solopreneurs, or maybe those who just start up with a small team, they try to do everything themselves. And now that's not how business is going forward anymore. If you're trying to put in 16, 18 hours to do what someone else is doing in 5, 10, 15 minutes because they have optimizations put up for you, they have different systems that's put up for them already.
Right.
Listen, a lot of people busy themselves out of work. All right, I'll say that again. A lot of people busy themselves out of work. They feel as though that they're doing all the right things, but they're not really prioritizing what systems or what things they need to be doing to help them grow. I tell people all the time, working inside your business is not the same thing as working on your business.
Yes.
So for individuals to truly understand that, take it up, see what it can do for you. If you're not using automation at this point, you're probably lagging behind. If you're not using something like Copy AI or some of these text generations, you're probably falling behind. If you believe that your memory is better than a computer, you're failing yourself. There's so many things out here like Fathom and different chat boxes and things that can help you with take notes for you, keep up with yourself. Literally, it probably was a deep dive for myself about 6 months ago into just everything encompassing AI, everything. Because what I noticed was my industry was shifting right underneath my feet. Right, it was once about customer service, whoever could, present the best campaigns, do the best budgeting, make sure they under or exactly at budget for what the scope of work was. But now there's so many young kids out here who are doing things that are amazing, setting up systems to actually generate revenue from individuals, from being able to put processes in place. This is the difference. Do not feel as though you're going to outwork these computers. You're not. I'm just going to be real with you. A lot of people feel like, I'm out. That is a mindset that I've had to get over myself as well. Please try some of these things out. There are so many different things, from video editing, from artwork and graphics, digital artwork. It just goes on and on and on. I am amazed by the power that AI can have. And so I would tell anybody, if you're having a struggle with something, see if there's a resource out there to help you out, because what you're doing is bumping your head every day trying to figure it out when someone out there already has the answer.
Yes. Yeah. Well said, man. Well said. I would totally agree with that. Totally. So what are some other, you talked about, I was thinking some other technologies that we could do. You had mentioned Fathom, you had mentioned automations. I know automations have really been my savior, especially Zapier, being able to be the middleman for me, take something from one app and put it in another. That has absolutely saved me tons of time. Tell us a little bit about Fathom, because I haven't used that yet. So what does that do?
So Fathom is, if you're doing a lot of networking, as you and I both do, we're meeting new people every day. It's hard to keep up with the names, the businesses, what they service, who they value, right? And so what it is basically AI bot that pretty much takes notes for you. It does a summarization of everything that you guys discussed, and then puts it in a nice little order for you then to be able to say, oh, I forgot we even talked about that piece, or I completely that went over my head. I didn't even understand it. And then it's a full write-up for you, where instead of you trying to remember everything. I was in sales for a number of years, and the number one thing I would see from consultants were, by the end of the week, if you try to put all your notes in at one time, you remember probably 10 to 15% of what your discussion was about. Whereas if I have something that's literally remembering every piece of it, there may be that one thing that can be leveraged upon in your next conversation that can make all the difference between your conversation. And then now there's also some things that actually build demographics out and build profiles. I believe there's actually one that's connected to the H&P profile that you guys have that actually sends you guys alerts every single day with leads generated, and it tells you not only what about them, what segments they are, are they fitting to your demographic, but a profile about how to communicate with them. And then also it has automated alerts and automated text and email campaigns for you. These are things that would take normal people months to get finished, right?
Yep.
So instead of taking your work day and making it, oh, I'm going to get everything I can, shift that down to how can I be as productive as possible into these areas.
Yes, I would totally agree. And I'm using that program you're talking about. It's called NowSight.
NowSight, there it is. I got the name. Yep, there it is.
And you can get leads while you sleep. It's nothing like it. And then it sends messages out to the folks, and you can connect with them. So yeah, if y'all don't have that, I will put that link in there so you can check it out. But yes,
check it out.
But I wanted to ask you, how is Fathom different than maybe like a Zoom transcript? Because if you have a Zoom account that you've paid for, that you have the transcription, isn't that kind of the same thing?
Sort of, kind of, but it doesn't really put it into the same order. There's also another one, I wish I could remember the name of it at this exact moment, it's out by Microsoft. It's actually built into a lot of your platforms as well. So where Fathom is standalone, this new one that comes out on Microsoft is amazing. It literally is completed with all your other aspects of your platform. So Excel, PowerPoint. So say you have a team that you're working with and they're saying, hey, we need this done. It automatically starts the process before that you even start clicking buttons. It understands in an intuitive manner what the discussion is about, what's being asked of you, and then starts to work on that project. There are things that I'm completely in awe with some of the things that are out here nowadays. And I'm just looking to be better in encompassing how to use all aspects of it, because it is changing the game. And someone asked me a question: do you believe that AI will take your job or remove the need for someone like you? And I said, absolutely not. There's always going to be a personal aspect to it. There's always going to be a customer service part that a bot just can't do. Although they may try, it's not the same feel of getting a real warm handoff or real welcoming introduction with or interaction with someone. But what will happen is someone who understands the full capabilities of AI, that person will take your job.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, because when it comes to customer service, I'm really old school. I like to talk to somebody.
Absolutely.
But the thing about it is, I say that, but I've also learned, even with the little bots that they have now, if you do a quick video or a screenshot of what you're trying to ask, and I feel like, and I've said this many a times, that video is queen, that it will really help you understand, with the person that you're sending to, understand what you're truly asking. Because I think a lot of the times you can lose some of the context of what the person is asking you to do if they haven't like fully explained to you what's going on. What are your thoughts on that?
No, you're absolutely right. It's just kind of think of it almost as a text chain, right? If someone is you're going back and forth with somebody via text communication, you don't understand the tone. You don't understand what they're trying to say exactly. You're trying to infer, right? And a lot of things can get missed in this communication. So where AI is awesome, it's amazing. It's going to continue to get more and more powerful. It's never going to take the humanistic aspect of dealing with human to human. Because businesses at any day, it is not going to be, even if it's 2,500, right? It's not going to be box to box that's communicating for a business, right? Because there has to be someone on the other side of that. And one thing that also people misunderstand about it is every bot that you see that you're out here playing with, toying with, they were created by a human. So there's always human aspects towards what that end goal or that end result will be. Yes.
You dropping some knowledge today, homie.
I'm trying. I gotta keep up with the famous Inga Faye. Come on, man. I gotta keep up.
Okay, so look, to close us out, what would be one thing that you would want to share with us that is like a must do for business owners to stay within this digital age?
One thing I would say is a must do. I would say one thing that you must do is understand where you're going. Right. So none of
Vision.
this AI makes sense if you don't have a vision for it. It's just an
Yeah.
algorithm out there that's just doing stuff. Right.
Right.
And there's so many other businesses that are currently right now who aren't even in this digital age, aren't moving towards the digital age, and they are slowly going to be forgotten. I was actually just speaking with one of my clients. We were talking about the difference between what's truly around us in our community versus what our digital allies are in our community. It's a complete difference, right? How many businesses do you think are in the digital world right now? You would almost think all of them.
Yeah,
But
you
if you
would
just
think.
did a simple Google search of yourself in your business area for what you do, or maybe some of your competitors, you would see there are so many others who are still in a dark age, right?
Mm,
That was one of the big things for myself coming out of college that I was actually able to kind of put a leg up was like, why are we still faxing stuff? Why are we
yep.
still hand delivering? Like, what are we doing here? Like, the
Yep.
efficiency is terrible. And that was one of the things that I realized that even still to this day, there is a huge percentage of businesses who are just fine being just fine. They don't want to
Mm,
grow, right? I hear that all the
right.
time. I want to grow. I want to get to. But if you're not willing to adapt and change for the things that you're looking for, you're not willing to grow. You're not ready for that. What you are comfortable and complacent in what your manner is. And I have no problem with you, but those aren't the individuals I'm trying to carry myself around. Look
Right.
around, just do a Google search, and then go drive around and see the difference from the businesses that are actually out there. It's a stark difference. And so if you believe that what's digital is everything, you're still missing half the game. But what I will say is those who are those who are willing to adapt, or at least willing to try something and fail at it a few times. I am completely a person of that perpetuates please fail. I love failure. Failure is not a bad thing. Failure is an opportunity, but remember to
Yes.
fail forward.
Yes. Yes. Well said, man. And I didn't even pay him to say that. Yes, failure is feedback for all of those out there, and that took me a long time to grasp that because back in the day, I felt like failing was bad. But the only way that we can get to success is to fail, because success is not just going to instantaneously happen. Success is really for our ego. That's what it's for. Because
Come
when you
on, you
succeed,
preaching.
you ain't learning nothing.
You preaching.
You
I
just
hear
happy
you.
that you all those other failures that you made, you finally got it. Okay, so now what's up?
Any success you're looking for, stop looking at the success. Look at your failures and crack those open. See where
Right,
it's at, because your wins, your successes are within those failures. And that was something that took me a very long time to learn. Up until I
right.
was probably about 25, if you would have asked me, what's your biggest fear? It was a failure. It was a fear of failure. And I
Yeah.
realized later on in life that, oh my goodness, no, what I should have been doing was failing as fast as possible at as many
Fast
things as
as you
possible.
can. Yes.
And then I can start to kind of get that feedback, start to get some of the information, start to see and pivot what I need to be able to do. Now, my biggest fear is someone or the lack of reaching your optimal potential. That's my biggest failure now. As fear of failure is completely dismissed at this point. I want to fail because I'm going to learn 10 times as much through my failure as I will my success. Like you said, when you succeed, you a big fat cat, you sitting back, you like, yeah, I got another 10 bank, right?
Yeah.
It's all of these other things. It's the ego drive. But if you continue to see and focus on the process, focus on being uncomfortable, you're going to be way ahead of the game.
Yes, 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 yes. Well said, bro. Well said. So now I'm going to show your website. So tell us about the goodies you got for us today.
So yes, we have an ebook. We're actually doing ebooks on every quarter to basically give you some of the ins and outs, some of the little tips and tricks of different platforms you should be utilizing. Most people feel as though they're so afraid to get into the digital space, afraid of social media. They don't like their face, they don't like their voice, all these other excuses that they may make for themselves. With the AI, you don't have to worry about that anymore. So instead of you
Right.
having to bump your head and figure out what failure is, we're actually going to tell you everything that's inside, what you need to be doing, where you need to be leveraging and allocating your resources and time, as well as what's some of the best ways for you to make impact immediately without having to then say it failed.
Right, right. All right, y'all. So if you want that ebook, this is his website here on the screen. It will also be down in the description. So don't worry about writing it down. You'll just see it in the description. Just click it and it'll take you to his website. And for all of you those that are watching, thanks for watching. Kendrick, homie, it was great kicking it with you.
Thank you so much for this opportunity. And I actually got another special guest just for you guys. If you are a part of the Ingo Faye family, I also am doing branding audit. So if you have a business, a website, something that you're working on, and you feel like, I'm not so proud of it, or I'm not quite sure if it's generating the type of response that I'm looking for, we're doing that completely complimentary. Thank you to Ingo Faye. And we're going to make sure that you guys learn what you need to lean into and avoid the pitfalls that so many others fall into.
Awesome. So he giving y'all all this kind of love. Yes, yes, yes. So make sure you go to the website, kick it with my homie. And as always, thanks for watching and bye for now.